everyone, it's Scrambles and I'm back out on the trail again. This time I'm back in Pennsylvania. I've decided to start working on more sections of Pennsylvania when I have short little bits of time to work with. So far I've done everything from Lehigh Gap north, so I'm going to start working on sections south of Lehigh Gap. And when I looked at the map, the next section would be between Lehigh Gap and Port Clinton. So I'm going to knock that out in a couple of sessions. Right now I have 2 days off, and I'm going to do 15 miles from Port Clinton to the Eckville shelter. And I'm going to do it in about a day and a half. I didn't start until after 2 o'clock today. I have family in Pennsylvania and we went to lunch, and so I started late in the day. So I'm only going to go part way today, and then I'm going to do the rest of it tomorrow. It's a total of 15 miles, and I've done 14-mile days, but I know that this section is pretty rocky and I want to take my time going through it. So I started already. I've gone about a little over a mile, and I did the climb up out of Port Clinton. I started by the AT parking lot and went along the river and under Route 61, which that's a little spooky under there. So I'll take you along. I'll show you what some of the rocks look like in this section of Pennsylvania. Stopped by a little rock pile to take a drink, and then I realized this is probably where I should be watching out for snakes. But I took a look and I don't see any, so that's good. This last mile has been the mile of trees across the trail. And I don't know whether to look down so I don't trip on a rock, or look up so I don't smash my skull on a low-hanging tree. That's what I've been dealing with. Alright, so I'm about halfway to the shelter that I'm planning to stop at tonight. Shouldn't have any problem making it there before dark unless something unexpected and disastrous happens. But clearly, I'm not going to make it there before the rain. When I started hiking at 2, it was beautiful blue skies. It actually looked really nice. But about 20 minutes ago, the clouds started coming in and the skies got dark. So it is now raining on me. There's really been a decent amount of trail today that was reasonable, walkable, not rocky. I can't complain about the amount of rocks that I've done today. Only a couple of sections that were really bouldery, where if the trailblazers weren't there, you wouldn't have been able to figure out where the trail went. But most of it has been pretty good today. I made it to Windsor Furnace Shelter. Normally I would pitch my tent nearby, but it's still looking a little gray, and I'm not sure if it's going to rain again. So I think for now I'll hang out in the shelter and we'll see. I don't usually sleep in the shelter, but maybe I will tonight. So I did 6 miles today, which, I started after 2 o'clock, so that's not bad. So I'll rest, I'll make some dinner, and I'll decide where to set my sleeping bag down. So the privy is very nice. It doesn't smell bad, it's very open air. The only problem is it doesn't have a door. Good morning, everyone. I slept nice and cozy last night. Had the whole place to myself. In fact, I didn't see another hiker all day yesterday. So I had the woods to myself yesterday too. It's time for me to get up and get moving. Today I'm going to hike past the pulpit and the pinnacle. And those are popular viewpoints, so I don't expect to have the trail to myself today, but we'll see what happens. The sun is coming up. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast for today. So I'm just finishing packing up, and I'll be on my way. Windsor Furnace Shelter was very nice, except for a little bit of graffiti. It was very clean. It seemed well maintained. There were spots around the area for tenting. I guess the only thing that would make it better is if there was a bear box there. So today I have a 9-mile stretch approximately, coming out at Hawk Mountain Road near Eckville Shelter. I don't know if anybody has noticed yet, but I have Gregory with me. So he's getting to see all the beautiful scenery that I get to see. So this is just what you call nuisance rocks. You can't take your eyes off your feet because they'll trip you up. So it looks like we're graduating from nuisance rocks to Pennsylvania. So it's definitely rocky going up, but not terrible. There's a lot of stones that are placed nicely so that we have this sort of gradual staircase going up. This is much better than what it first looks like. So this is the reward you get if you keep your eyes on your feet during the nuisance rocks. So that observatory is just off trail. The AT is right up here. We're right by the pulpit. I'm going to continue along to the pinnacle now. This morning, I was sent a wonderful gentleman to have a conversation with. We were hiking in opposite directions, and we stopped to say good morning, and we noticed we both had backpacking packs on. So we talked for a while about, he's through hiking and I'm section hiking, and, what sections I've done so far. And when we were finishing up the conversation and getting ready to move on, he said to me, "I'll pray for you." And I said, that would actually be wonderful, because I could use some prayers right now. And when he asked why, I explained to him that I had just lost my son a few weeks ago, and how I was struggling with that, so I could use some prayers for comfort and healing. And then we talked for a little while about that, and he asked what had happened, and I explained Gregory's condition. And then he asked me, "What is his name?" And I said, "His name's Gregory." And he said, "My name's Greg too." So we talked a little bit more, and I know that we were meant to meet this morning, and we were meant to have that conversation, and it was ultimately very uplifting for me. So Greg, thank you for the conversation this morning. So we're doing lunch with a view today, and I just had a little peanut butter wrap, and now I took out some of those little chocolate sunflower seed protein bites to have, but the chocolate had melted and then rehardened, so I have a brick of sunflower seed bites. Trail just opened up into a woods road, so that's nice. So about a half mile back was a significant spot on the trail. I don't know if you know my friend Try, but during her 2019 through hike attempt, she fell about a quarter mile from the pinnacle and hit her head on a rock and ended up with a concussion. So when she knew I was doing this section today, she said to me, make sure you find the spot where I fell. And of course, she was joking. But in my mind, I went, challenge accepted. And she, sent me a picture of herself sitting right at that spot where she fell. And so, of course, I found the same spot and I sent her the picture. And so we marked the exact spot where she fell and had her concussion. That's what happens when you give me a challenge. Like this is where I leave the woods road. I've been on it for probably almost 4 miles now, and I have a little less than a mile back to the car. I'd have to say that overall the rocks in this section haven't been too bad. Yesterday, coming out of Port Clinton and going up to the Windsor Furnace Shelter, the rocks weren't that bad. I'd give them an A- for yesterday. Now for today, it's a little different because it was a real mix. And starting off was okay, also about an A-, until we got to those nuisance rocks shortly before we hit the pulpit. And then from the pulpit over to the pinnacle, there were a lot of really rocky sections. I'd say maybe 30 or 40% of the 2 miles between those two viewpoints were quite rocky. Maybe it was less than that. It just seems like more because you have to slow down and take more time going through those sections. So that makes those sections seem longer. But that was definitely the rockiest. Within 0.3 of a mile after the pinnacle, that's when we hit the woods road, and it's been smooth sailing ever since. So this really hasn't been very bad. I also ran into a lot more people today, probably because there wasn't such a threat of rain today, and also because the area that I did had those two viewpoints. And a lot of people like to do a loop that includes the pinnacle and the pulpit. So that would be my guess as to why I hit more people today. Thank you everyone for following along. And to Greg for being with me. I love you, buddy, always. And I'll see you down the trail.